So a lot of people at a snap of the finger want to have a permanent residency, not temporary. They want permanent. In 5 days, there is a permanent residency that can be entirely remotely accomplished. I'm going to discuss that in this video, but you don't want to screw it up. You don't want to get it on the wrong nationality. Maybe your passport is one of the strongest in the world. It does not matter. You want to keep that beast away. You want to have a separate thing on its own on the side, legally acquired, and that is where a lot of people, a lot of seasoned expats want to diversify, want to protect themselves and their family. They want to have a starter pass. A starter pass is a passport that you legally acquire, you keep it on the side. It's your identity, it's your legal identity, it's legally acquired and obtained. It sits in your portfolio nicely and handsomely. It doesn't have to be the strongest passport, and that's why you want a permanent residency tagged to this combination. So you want to get your feet wet, you want something really fast, you're frustrated, you don't want to travel, you want to get all those stupid list of documents, the checklist, and then sit and apostille them and then wait for them to expire and then get them again and struggle in your life. You have the money, you have the means, you have the cash to get a starter pass, and you also have a little bit more money to get the direct permanent residency from that country. So when SHTF, you know where you're headed. At least there's one location, there's a lifetime permanent residency in your bag, in your portfolio, so you don't have to go to the country of your passport. You could if you want to, but you want to diversify. You really want to keep your travel private and protected, and that is where you're legally tagging a permanent residency. And this is not for regular use. It's not to go and live there. This is for that time in your life where you absolutely need a getaway and to do legal things, of course, to protect yourself and your family. That is where you would exercise this option. I'm going to discuss one of my favorite starter passes. There are 3 starter passes that you can obtain: 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. That's how soon that can be accomplished. And I'm going to get to the starter pass in the second half of this video. But first, let me explain what this 5-day permanent residency is. It has the least amount of documents. They only do the legal bare minimum required stuff. It's a completely discreet and remote process, completely legally done, legally acquired. So you don't have to go and get a passport from that country. You're diversifying this with a starter pass. So you're getting the permanent residency, but you have the layering solution. What is layering? You have a second nationality or a third nationality, and you're tagging multiple residencies. Easy, low-hanging fruits, right? This channel is all about grabbing the low-hanging fruits, planting more seeds, and when they blossom, you have some real good quality options in your portfolio. Now, while I'm discussing all these strategies, all of this is my own personal analysis, is informational content. This is not legal, tax, finance, or immigration advice. Always consult with an attorney before you do any of this stuff. And if you are interested in getting started with any of these options, you can always click the link, book a call. We can discuss the best fit and then connect you with the right professionals who would get you this option as soon as possible. We specialize in getting options lightning fast through legal means, through legal channels, and that's very important. The permanent residency that I'm referencing in this video is the Vanuatu PR. Now, yes, I completely understand the passport is expensive. The passport has a certain reputation. You don't want to get into a CBI program because all the CBI programs could be easy targets for Western forces. If that's your fear, if that's your worry, again, I don't consider Vanuatu to be similar to some of those Caribbean options. Those Caribbean options are absolutely busted, at least some of them. They directly share information with Western forces, some draconian regimes, and you don't want that. You want to stay away from that. And Vanuatu differentiates itself from all of that nonsense because they have a private mechanism. They have a private nationality, a private citizenship. So all of that is good, but still there's going to be a lot of people who don't believe in getting a nationality from Vanuatu, and that's where there's a PR that you can strike and as early as 5 days. And obviously if you have stuff in your background, it could be slightly longer, but typically for most people, I would say give or take 5 days, you can acquire this permanent residency. Least amount of legally required documents, completely discreet and remote process, all legally done, and sitting at home in 5 days you can acquire this permanent residency. Why would you use this? You would use this in a bad time, in a bad situation. It's a use case, right? You have the option, you can always go there. You have a lifelong permanent residency, indefinitely renewable, no physical presence required in the country. So without acquiring a passport, you do get lifetime access to that country, at least. Now let's come to the starter pass, right? What's a starter pass? A starter pass is anything that you can get for cheap. It's a legal identity, it's a legal nationality. You want something truly utility, it's supposed to be cheap, it's supposed to be less than 3 to 4 weeks, right? 30 days. You want this remotely done. You don't want to go anywhere, you don't want to travel anywhere, you don't want to answer ridiculous questions. You want to simplify the process. You want a very discreet, a remote, a private process between you and the country. Just don't want to, you're not interested in disclosing this to anyone outside. So that's where you want to have a starter pass, which is a quick and dirty solution. And when I'm saying dirty, I'm just saying a simple solution, right? Something that you can quickly acquire. Now, what's the price, you might ask? It's far cheaper than 100k pounds. That's all I can tell you, right? This is not a publicly available CBI, right? This is through exception. This is an exceptional scenario, and we have a direct channel, completely legal, perfectly following the process. This is the cheapest. It doesn't get any cheaper than this. This is far cheaper than any other commercially available CBI. What are the advantages, you might ask? Now, although I'm calling this as a starter passport because it does have the attributes, right? It has cheap, it's fast, it's discreet, it's private. So it has all of what you would look for from a Plan C, but it is a ECOWAS nation. Now, what are the options under the ECOWAS umbrella? You have the Sierra Leone, right, and Africa, an ECOWAS nation. Now that's at 140k. That's too expensive. At half the price, maybe I would look at it, but at 140k, I would discard that one. And that's my personal opinion. Each one thinks differently about this. But here, this starter pass that I'm talking about is ECOWAS. In addition to that, it's a CPLP. Now, ECOWAS unlocks 13 countries, of course, so you can go and lifetime set up your residency in any of those 13 countries. So you have privacy, you have protection even outside this nation. And then the reason I'm talking about the CPLP is that you have 3D advantages in places like Brazil potentially and Portugal potentially. Again, no responsibility for any of those governments. You got to go and check this with them, but I'm just throwing out all the terminology so you're aware of the weaknesses and the strengths. So let's not say even weaknesses, but the strengths of this option. Once you have the starter pass, right, let's say 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and then you're adding a couple of days, or let's just say 5 days for simplicity. In this much time, now you have acquired a permanent residency sitting at home, and you have acquired a full-blown, solid, strong, discreet, protective nationality. So you have a rock-solid combination. This is a starter solution anyone should have who has the means. I'm not talking about any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You cannot afford this. For you guys, there's regular residencies like Paraguay, Panama, Mexico, and so on and so forth. This is for someone who has some spare change to get started with an item sitting at their home. You want something quick, this keeps it nice and tidy. If you are interested in getting started with this combination, as I said, we directly liaison with them, and I promise you there's going to be hardly anyone who's going to be able to get this faster than us. So you can always reach us. We can immediately get this option in place for you. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because the moment there's any change to any of these options, I'll be the first one to notify you. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and catch you in the next one.